Islam Makhachev went on Twitter to express concern that Charles Oliveira may not show up for UFC 280. Makhachev tweeted a previous news article in which Oliveira said that he was going to arrive in Abu Dhabi 20 days before the fight in order to acclimate. Makhachev questioned why Oliveira is still not in the country, to which Oliveira replied via Instagram, "Calm down, Daddy is coming." Chael Sonnen on his podcast explained that he felt like the reason Conor McGregor has not been tested by USADA was because he withdrew from the testing pool to avoid getting a whereabouts violation, and he will return when he is ready to fight.
Now there's 3 reasons why USADA would not test you. Which one of those clauses does Conor fall under? I don't have the answer to that. But if he left the testing pool, which would be a sign that perhaps he isn't going to come back, you leave the testing pool when you retire, when you no longer have a contract. And then you have the 3rd reason, which is a little bit ambiguous, so I won't even share it with you, but was it a coincidence that Conor wasn't tested? That's what I thought it was. USADA came and spoke on this. They're the ones that told us what their rules are. They're the ones that told us the 3 things. That's why I remember it's fresh in my head. I thought it was just a coincidence. I had been subject to USADA in the year 2000 when I was an alternate for the Olympic team. So now I've got 1 year I've got to be under USADA. I never filled out that paperwork. I never even knew where to fill out that paperwork. Nobody ever came to my house. But also, I only knew one guy that was ever tested. I lived at the Olympic Training Center, right? USADA was there for the Olympic level athletes. And I had one guy. His name was Dave Sarofchek when USADA showed up and tested him. And I don't begrudge that. I just share with you that I thought it was kind of a lottery situation. All these names go in, they're in the pool, somebody gets pulled out, it's random testing. At one point, they used to call it that. But random testing comes with a definition. It doesn't have to be the one that I thought it was. But I did believe that Conor just hadn't been tested. Purely a coincidence, they could be out there later today. And it now appears that that isn't the case. And he's removed from the USADA pool. It is very relevant because now you lose all your short notice fights. You leave, why did you leave the pool? You're going to deal with some of the speculations. And then to re-enter and come back, it just becomes a process. It becomes a thing, which would not be in line with the way that Conor's career has been ran up until this point. So what do you make of that? I don't have a conclusion. I don't make a whole lot of it. I mean, USADA is a tremendous amount of work. It is a tremendous nuisance that guys who want to be in fair sport will enter a pool and they will make those sacrifices to be part of fair sport because they respect USADA. But if you knew that you were Conor and you knew there was something else coming, right? Hey, my legs hurt. This is going to be a year. I don't want to do all this paperwork, which sets myself up. That makes me being in the pool and making sure I'm not organized 365, 24/7 opens up exposure for whereabouts violations if I don't want to deal with it. And he removed himself. That could have happened. It's the return that makes the story a little bit more interesting. So what do we make of it? Conor right now plans to fight, for sure. Conor is not in the... You don't go play mixed martial arts. You don't play boxing. You don't go and spar because that's how you like to work out. You grab your headphones and a pair of shoes. You open up the front door. I mean, that's what you do. You go down to the health club in an air-conditioned room and you pump a stair stepper. That's what you do. Conor's in there. He's in the gym. He's at SPG. He's getting his private lessons. He's getting his heart rate up. He's getting his body back under control because he has a goal of returning to fighting. I understand that. I'm just sharing with you. He doesn't have to stay there. And all this talk about this is who I am, I'll never let it go, I'm a fighter, all this talk of that, there's a real truth to that unless you would become something else. And Conor has a lot of opportunities. I don't make anything salacious out of the USADA business. If he in fact is removed from the pool, I think it would serve Conor to come out and tell us why. And I think I just hit it on the head. 24/7, 365 to be part of a pool that wouldn't matter even because you're not going to compete. There would be a responsibility for your lawyer or your legal team to come to you and say, hey, let's remove you from this pool. That might have just been it. But if you come out and tell people why you're removing yourself from USADA, of course, then you got to deal with the whole, he's taking something. Believe me, if Conor was on something, I would tell you. I'm right 100% of the time. He's not on anything. When he got all big and bloated and all that different stuff is because he's retaining water because he's not in the room jerking out or working out because he's got a leg injury. I mean, some of these things are very obvious, but I'm just sharing with you, there's a lot of moving parts here with McGregor. And the talk and the flirting and him coming back. I mean, the last time that we really heard we were moving in this direction was Nate Diaz, the day before he signed to fight Chimaev, going on Ariel's show and saying the UFC offered me a trilogy with Conor McGregor. There's big plans out there. Still big a star. Red Painting Night is still real. More of you are going to listen to this piece I just made on Conor McGregor than you're going to listen to the main event piece scheduled for this weekend. But if we rethink it and we start to see all the different directions that this could go, and we keep in mind, he was a fighter, but he doesn't have to always be.
Gerg Hardy, 34 years of age, parted ways with the UFC back in March after a 3-fight losing streak to Marcin Tybura, Taito Ivasa, and Sergey Spivak. Hardy made his professional boxing debut on Saturday night against Mike Cook, whose record was 0-1 going into that fight. Hardy eventually scored a second-round knockout to win the fight.